Welcome to level 7 out of 31 levels of the 613 degrees or rungs on Jacob's ladder. Level 7 is mainly about the harvest. First, we have to plow the field, which is metaphorical for turning over old desires, unlearning, and preparing the planting of new altruistic and selfless desires, which is called sowing the field. So first we plow the field, then we sow the field, and then we eventually reap the harvest. Reaping the harvest is a metaphor for eating the fruits of our labor. Fruit is a metaphor for joy received. The fruits of our labor are a metaphor for working hard to become altruistic and selfless and putting effort in unlearning old desires, learning new desires, developing new thoughts and healthy emotions, eventually performing positive actions and refraining from negative restraints. To reap the harvest is to receive joy from the result and ability of performing positive actions and negative restraints. There are 4 micro rungs in reaping the harvest. The 4 micro rungs are make, take, bring, and reap. These rungs are not necessary to analyze but should be viewed as a whole for the concept of reaping. It is also important to make the harvest holy. When we make the harvest holy, we make the process of receiving joy very important and valuable. This makes us appreciate the exchange from pleasure to joy, from fleeting enjoyment to longer lasting, more fulfilling joy, and from loving ourselves to loving others. The next series of rungs or degrees on Jacob's ladder deals with the harvest for the poor. The poor is a metaphor for depression or a loss of something. In life, a poor person is someone who has low levels of money, food, and shelter. So a spiritually poor person is someone who has low levels of joy and happiness. One can call this person depressed or at a loss. The micro rungs for the poor person's harvest are to make, take, bring, leave, and reap. These degrees should also not be analyzed but taken as a whole. It is a good practice to leave joy for a rainy day. If you are feeling great one day, don't use up all your joy and pleasure. Save the joy and pleasure for a rainy day when you are feeling low and depressed. One can cheer themselves up and make sad to glad and the depressed to elated. For instance, if one is feeling great one day, there is no need to try and get higher or boost one's mood because they already feel great. Save the joy and pleasure for another day when one needs help cheering themselves up. The next series of rungs is to give up impatience, anger, carelessness, greed, and lust. Impatience, anger, carelessness, greed, and lust occurs when we give in to pain. To be immune to these vices, one must practice becoming impervious to pain. When we give in to pain, we are giving up. It is important to fight pain with endurance. The phrase "no pain, no gain" is important because if we give in to pain, we are taking a loss and not receiving a win. When we attain patience, carefulness, moderation, and love, it is called pouring the holy anointing oil on ourselves, making ourselves anointed, valuable, and worthy of virtue. Once we pour the anointing oil on ourselves and become immune to sin, we reach a state of jubilation or a state of extreme joy. In this state of a jubilation, it is important to maintain spiritual momentum and not return to a state of fleeting pleasures. To maintain spiritual momentum is to continue the good work we are doing by loving God and loving others. It is important to hallow the state of jubilation and make it very valuable and worthy. This helps us appreciate the state of jubilation and extreme joy because we once experienced a state of fleeting selfish pleasures and now we ascended to a more fulfilling spiritual state. When we switch to this state of jubilation, we are returning the possession, which means returning and giving up the ownership of egoism and selfishness for altruism and selflessness. Now we have the right to redeem ourselves and right of redemption, which is the ability and power to redeem ourselves.